Yo, 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 happy Tuesday, happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday, everyone. My name is Justin Moore, founder of Creator Wizard, where I teach you how to find and negotiate your dream brand partnerships. Back at you, coming to talk about something very juicy today. And I titled it 4 Steps to Land 10K Holiday Brand Deals. Is there anyone here who would like to land some holiday brand deals? So let me know where you're tuning in from. I am live across LinkedIn, Instagram, X, YouTube, you name it, I'm there. And I'm excited because we have some great stuff to talk about today. You might be thinking, Justin, it is September. Am I really trying to land some holiday brand deals right now? And the answer is absolutely yes. Full disclosure, I am a little delirious right now because I woke up very early, 3:30 in the morning, to catch a flight. So what ended up happening is I was at a retreat in North Carolina along with my wife April for the last couple of days, and our flight got canceled late last night. It was crazy. It kept getting delayed, and then it got canceled, and we had to find a hotel, and it was crazy. And so we had to wake up very early. And but I'm here, as you know. I always make a commitment to go live across my platforms basically every week, and so I am here. So as you know, any questions that you have around brand deals and negotiations and partnerships and so on, I will do my very best to answer those a bit later in the stream. And quick announcement, if you're just tuning in now, do not forget to join my 10K Brand Deal Challenge because it starts on Thursday. Guys, what are we even doing here? Enrollment closes tomorrow at midnight. So if you have not signed up for my 10K Brand Deal Challenge, what are you even doing with your life? Y'all, creatorwizard.com/challenge. It is a live 7-day challenge where I'm going to help you craft what your 10K brand deal outreach looks like. Regardless of what niche you're in, regardless of what platform you're on, I am going to help you. And remember, enrollment ends tomorrow. And by the end of this challenge, you are actually going to hit send on this pitch. So if you're someone who has been terrified of doing something like that, and you think, there's the dream brands that I've always wanted to work with, but I feel terrified to actually reach out to them because what if they say no? Or what if they say yes? What do I do then? And so we're going to cover all that in the 10K Brand Deal Challenge. And full disclosure, people who have joined the 10K Brand Deal Challenge in the past have literally gotten responses from the brands that they emailed the same day or the next day. So just the act of actually putting stuff into motion, from shifting to passive, from passive to active, makes a huge difference. All right. We've got Blue North Woodworking asking, how much is enrollment? Enrollment is $97. So I put a lot on the line. I go live basically every day. And then there's a VIP upgrade if you would like, because I do a more intimate Q&A after each live session. And so that is $197. So, it's a lot. It's definitely like I put the investment as low as possible, because my goal in doing this whole thing is to just get y'all off the fence. Treat this as an accelerant to actually start getting things moving. You may have been watching me or listening to me for a long time, but you've been on the fence. And so I was like, okay, my coaching program is a much larger investment, right? And so I just wanted to create something that was approachable for as many people as possible. And so I feel as though this is that. Hold on a second here. Did someone just join the 10K Brand Deal Challenge? Jason Vaughn, look at this. Jason Vaughn just joined the 10K Brand Deal Challenge. Look at that. Boom. Let's go. Appreciate you very much, man. I'm super, super stoked to see you in the challenge as well. STEM Accelerators said, so excited to sign up for the challenge. Yes, make sure to sign up before tomorrow at midnight. Blue North Woodworking says, are the sessions recorded if we can't make it live? And the answer is yes. So we post the recordings within 24 hours. Full disclosure though, basically we have a pop-up forum, a pop-up space in my community for the duration of the challenge. And then it will stay open for, I think, something like 7 days after the challenge is over. So it's meant to be this kind of ephemeral pop-up thing where we all descend on this space, we all take action, and then the space will come down along with the recording. So again, the whole point of this is to just force you to do the work. Okay. So, but yes, there is recordings that you can access 24 hours after each call. The Top Notch family says, I was in his first class. It's definitely worth it. So let's go. Top Notch family is saying that you should do it, Blue North Woodworking. So I hope to see you there. We've got Tyler Bliss tuning in, Lion's Den. We've got who else? I saw someone else. Parker's on the go tuning in. What's up, Parker's on the go? We've got My Happy Adventure, Phil Works, Life with Kenya tuning in on Instagram as well. All right, so I'm going to talk a little bit more about the 10K Brand Deal Challenge a bit later in the stream. But for now, let's go over the 4 steps to landing those 10K holiday brand deals, okay? So let's start with step 1, okay? And this is what I call the holiday timing secret, which is why basically Q4 is different. So Q4, as you know, is quarter 4. So brands oftentimes will, group their budgets by quarter. And so quarter 4 is October, November, December. Okay. And what are we sitting here? Early September, time of recording this. Might be willing to pay you in November and December than they would any other time of the year. Why would that be? Well, sometimes brands have budgets that are going to reset come January. So they have this pool of money that they were allocated by the executive team basically. And they said, hey, you've got $1 million to spend for the year or for the quarter or whatever, right? But oftentimes it's backloaded. The amount of money they're going to spend is backloaded toward the end of the year because that's when they sell, something like 50% of their revenue or whatever. And so if they don't spend that $1 million in Q4, they lose it and it goes back into the pot, the much larger pot. And so this is why sometimes you'll hear brands say, oh, we have to spend this by the end of the year. Because here's the really weird thing that happens is that brands, the marketing department very rarely wants to give back money because it doesn't look good for them. Basically, what happens then is that the next year when they're doing their budgetary planning, the executive team will look at that. They'll say, oh, the marketing team gave back $100,000 in Q4. I guess they can make do with $900,000 in 2026. And no one wants that. No department wants to get their budgets shrunk. Right. And so it's it's actually a big problem, I think, in large organizations, because theoretically you should be able to just operate more efficiently. But everyone wants to hold on to their coins. No one wants to give up their coins. Right. And so brands have this tendency sometimes to just splash money around knowing that they're going to lose it if they don't spend it by the end of the year or at the end of that budget cycle or the quarter cycle or whatever. Right. And so understanding these timing windows, these budget windows, and when you need to be pitching versus when these budgets are going to freeze, depending on their fiscal cycle, is a really important part of this. Okay. Tyler in the chat said, I've been using the book recently to help reach out to brands. Let's go, Tyler. Let me know in the chat, any big takeaways for you? Anything that you've been noticing as you've been doing this outreach? Yeah, Blue North Woodworking says, okay, thanks. I've been chatting with the tool company, so I'll see you there. Let's go. Let's go, Blue North Woodworking. I hope to see you there. Yes, absolutely. I'm so stoked for that. All right. So step 2, let's move right along to step 2, okay? And I'm going to call this the holiday specific value proposition, okay? What do brands actually need? What do brands actually need at this time of the year? Okay. And so the key thing to realize here is that holiday campaigns often have very different objectives than regular sponsorships. So if it's an evergreen promotion that you may have done with a brand over the course of the year, oftentimes there is some sort of crazy promotion that they're running during the holidays, whether it's Black Friday, Cyber Monday, just general holiday promotions, because again, remember, holidays, Q4 may represent more than 50% of their revenue for the entire year. So this is what you should be thinking. It's like, okay, instead of the regular product feature that I would normally do, how about I do a gift guide integration or there's some sort of holiday shopping urgency messaging. The other thing too is that a lot of people they've got their credit cards out. It's the holidays. They're thinking about, what can I buy for everyone in my family, everyone in my life? What can I buy for my spouse, for my kids? They're basically think of the very bottom of the funnel or even mid funnel. They're actually out there. They have purchase intent. right? And so seasonal content that drives immediate purchase, and how you would tactically execute that content when you create a pitch and when you actually, bring this sponsorship to life, you may want to have a much more kind of conversion focused approach when you're pitching these brands or when you're collaborating with these brands. Okay. They don't want your regular pitch just with you wearing a Santa hat. No, you got to be thinking a bit more like get into the minds of the consumer. What are consumers thinking about during the holiday season? Like, why are how can you communicate with your audience, who is, prospective customers of the brand, about why this is the perfect holiday gift or XYZ? Okay, is this making sense? Drop a 1 in the chat if you're like following along here and you're understanding that your pitches need to be a bit different during the holiday season relative to the rest of the year. Give me the mind blown emoji. Give me something here. Okay. All right, moving right along. Let's talk about the urgency pitch framework. And you know what I'm going to call this? It's the rope method for the holidays. Okay. And so this is about how to craft pitches that are leveraging that desperation that brands feel around the holidays. One other big challenge that brands have when they are trying to run these campaigns is that, a lot of creators are very busy during this time of the year. Right. My friend Logan, I interviewed him for a podcast episode that'll come out soon. And this is actually a big problem that he has, is that all of the brands that he works with throughout the years, like he focuses on consumer products. And so everyone wants to work with him around Black Friday or the holidays or Prime Day or whatever, these big tentpole moments, these big tentpole seasonal moments. And he just absolutely gets inundated. I think he told me he did something like, I'm going to botch this number, but I think it was something like 28 integrations around Black Friday last year or Prime Day or something. It was something insane, right? And so if you can illustrate to a brand that working with you is going to be turnkey, whether it's inbound, they reach out to you or you're reaching out to them, you have to follow the rope method. Okay, what is the rope method? And remember, your pitch has to be relevant, it has to be organic, there has to be proof, and it has to be easy to execute. So what does this translate into? So the relevancy, maybe you could be tying your pitch back to holiday campaigns that they ran last year. Are you going to be running that again this year? That's the easy one. Organic, right? Your authentic holiday content style. Maybe you can link to holiday content that you did last year, gift guides, holiday integrations that drove significant performance. The proof aspect is, again, case studies of potentially collaborations that you've done with previous brands last holidays. And easy to execute. Well, what would this look like? How about quick turnaround solutions for the kind of the panic that they feel around these deadlines that they have? Remember, we were talking about just a few minutes ago about the budget urgency, that they have to spend this money or else they're going to lose it. So how can you illustrate to them that what you're proposing is going to be a turnkey thing? Joe said, very busy means ask for more if they want to meet a deadline. Yeah, we were talking about that earlier, that they may be willing to pay you 2 or 3 times the amount of money that they normally would. And they might volunteer this, like, hey, like, we really need to make this work. Can you do this by a certain date? Actually, I talked in a section of the book about how you can structure these kind of quick turnaround expediency things in the negotiation process, structuring it as a bonus. So if the brand's trying to hem and haw and lowball you and doesn't really want to pay you, but they say we absolutely need to have this content by this certain date, then you could say, hey, okay, well, I understand that you can't, you're not able to pay this certain amount that I'm quoting for these deliverables, but I understand that you really need this content by this certain date. So how about this? If I guarantee that I can get this content over to you and published by this certain date, you will pay me a bonus, which is whatever, $3,000, which will get you to the rate that you wanted originally. But if I don't hit that date, then you can pay me this lower amount, which is what you're trying to pay me. And that may be the thing to push the deal across the finish line. This is a real example that my wife and I did that was during the holiday season. Okay, the brand absolutely needed to have the content live by a certain date, mainly because there was other activations that were happening outside of social media, right? There was TV ads that were happening. There was like digital banner ads and pre-roll ads, other digital media basically that was going to activate her on that date, and they needed to have the kind of creator activation component go live on a very specific day. Okay. So like you have to understand what the sensitivities are of some of these brands. Is this making sense? Drop a 2 in the chat if this is making sense. We've got Danielle tuning in. We've got the authoritative coach, Giselle Folletti. We've got Joe again, my ADV 360. We've got Kiss Tine. Good to see you here. Love to see all the engagement here in the chat. Let's go. Let's fire it up. Okay, real quickly. How are we feeling? If you're just tuning in here, who drop a money, the money with the wings. If you already signed up for the 10K brand deal challenge, y'all drop the money with the wings. If you're just tuning in now, I'm gonna do a quick plug because remember, this expires. The enrollment will end tomorrow at midnight. So if you have not joined the 10K brand deal challenge, what are you even waiting for? I'll give you the quick little preview of like what we're going to be covering on each of these days. So on Thursday, we're going to start by talking about how you can overcome imposter syndrome and design your 10K STP. So STP is your surprising transformative promise. And we'll go into this in detail. Friday, we're going to be talking about how can you craft a 10K rope method for brand outreach, right? We're going to go into the rope method in a lot more detail than we do kind of superficially on these live streams. The weekend is when you start crafting these pitches. You'll also be learning about how you can best pinpoint who you should be reaching out to at these brands. So I have some kind of asynchronous videos that you can watch on demand to kind of see how I do brand contact research, looking at their LinkedIn profiles, using tools to find their email addresses and so on. And again, by the way, like after each of these live calls, there's that like a VIP Q&A as well on these. Okay. All right. And then Monday, this is my favorite thing, is that on Monday, I actually do a live brand outreach audit, AKA a roast. So if you're brave enough to submit your pitch to be roasted by me, it's a bunch of fun. And then on that day, we hit send on those pitches. Okay. The day after, on Tuesday, we talk about, okay, well, what happens after you hit send in the 10K deal reality? And then the final day, we'll talk about success stories and next steps. So we cover a lot in 7 days. And we have had people who go through this, just the challenge, and get like incredible brand deals just from doing this. They didn't join my coaching program. They didn't join the course. It was like just the challenge. Okay. So I really would encourage you to check out the 10K brand deal challenge. If you're interested, you can go to creatorwizard.com/challenge. And Delilah says, hey, everyone, if you're on the fence over the challenge, do yourself a favor and just do it. I super appreciate that, Delilah. And thank you for participating in one in the past. All right, so moving right along. Again, I'm almost done with what the topic that I wanted to cover today about 4 steps to land 10K holiday brand deals. But if you have any questions that you'd love me to answer, make sure to drop it in the chat, and I'll be addressing those shortly. Okay. All right. So step 4 is of this 4-step process here is what I call your fast track negotiation and delivery. Okay, which is that this thing has to go live basically before the holidays, or at least go live early enough that someone could purchase this and receive it by the holidays, right? Because that's the whole point of this whole thing. I think that the really important thing to remember here is that everyone is so busy during this time of the year, not just professionally, but also personally, maybe traveling for the holidays. People are out of office, so it's like difficult to get things done. And so the last thing that this brand wants to do is go back and forth with you for weeks trying to get this deal nailed down. And so what you absolutely need to be covering here is, for example, that this is going to be a shortened negotiation cycle. This is something that you're going to be able to, structure a deal where you can close this in 48 to 72 hours. What do you need to do to be able to make that happen? Well, a big part of it is like going back to the rope method, is like outlining exactly what you're going to propose to do for them. And they may have modifications that they want you to make for this, right? But that's okay. At least you're giving them something to get the wheels turning and get be able to, have them say to you like, hey, this is great, but like, can we make a few quick changes here? Another thing to remember here is, again, will their budget be resetting in January? That is an important question that you need to ascertain, because one thing that might be an interesting way to structure some of these compensation packages is offering to let them pay like basically if they say they don't have enough money for what you're proposing, offer to say, hey, give me whatever you've got left over in your budget for this for Q4, and then pay me the balance in Q1 of 26. Sometimes that might be the thing to push them over the edge to actually like make this deal happen. Right? I actually shared an example in my book, Sponsor Magnet, that was this exact situation. And this creator, the brand came to them saying, hey, we've got $5,000 left in our quarterly budget, and we really want to work with you. But the scope of work that they were asking the creator to do should have cost $10,000. Okay, it should have cost $10,000. And the creator was like, I would like the money, but like I don't want to come down by 50% on my rate for no reason. That's going to set a really bad price precedent. And I agreed, and I said, look, we were doing some coaching, and I proposed this exact thing. I said, hey, ask if they can give you $5,000 from this quarter's budget, and then $5,000 out of next quarter's budget. And the creator was really skeptical that this would actually, make it work. But you know what the brand said? They came back and they said, you would do that for us? We didn't even know that installments were an option. Well, in that case, can we do a 12-month deal at $5,000 a month for a total of $60,000? Wow, right? Wow. Can you imagine if that happened to you? If you turned a $5,000 deal into a $60,000 deal simply by being creative with your negotiation strategy? All right? Okay, so drop a 4 in the chat if you're hearing me here, that this idea about fast track negotiation, helping the brand understand that you're not like other creators. You can get this deal done. You can get this contract signed quickly. You can get them the drafts within 5 days or 3 days or whatever. My wife and I have done some insane turnaround times during the holidays in years past, and the brands will often pay a pretty penny to make that happen. Okay, so don't underestimate being on the brand's shortlist or understanding and knowing that they can really, contract you in those tight scenarios. Okay. All right. Let's see here. Let's see. We got a question from Disney Mom Life over here on Instagram. Hey, Justin, I worked with a men's grooming brand a few months ago. They originally approached me. The campaign performed decently, and we had a smooth collaboration overall. Last week, I reached out to pitch a Q4 partnership specifically for my upcoming holiday content. Like it was a men's gift guide, what to buy your husband for Xmas, but I heard nothing back. Would love your thoughts. I have a very simple piece of advice for you, which is that follow up. Not, hey, did you see this pitch? It would be, hey, I'm pivoting to this new idea. You're not saying that, but like basically, hey, if you didn't like that idea, great. I've got another one for you. You're not going to say this. Obviously, I'm being facetious, but like, hey, in addition to this men's gift guide, idea I had, I also saw that you posted on Instagram last year talking about XYZ or ABC. Are you going to be doing that again this holiday season? Because I can absolutely do something for that as well. Or if you don't want to pivot to that idea, you could say something else. You could say, hey, I'm actually seeing some really interesting trends in men's grooming happening on YouTube or TikTok or Instagram right now. Are you free on Thursday to chat with your team about how you can leverage that for this holiday season? Okay, so you're not just, you have to understand that people are busy, especially as they're preparing for the holiday season, right? Christian and Jessica from Moose Painting know this, who just tuned in. Part of my Wizards Guild or my Wizards Mastermind know this intimately as well, right? Brands are very busy this time of the year prepping for all the Q4 craziness, okay? And so you cannot be shy to follow up in these scenarios, okay? You have to be a squeaky wheel. I am not shy at all at this point in my career. I have unless the brand replies and be like, stop talking to us, you're annoying us, which they're never going to say. They actually will find it valuable. They're busy. Look, I have my email inbox on a given day. I get 100 plus emails that actually require responses. Remember, I have 24,000 creators on my email list. And it's so funny when you send out emails to 24,000 creators, turns out lots of them respond with very detailed questions. And I do my best, me and my team do our best to respond to them. But again, imagine you're a brand. You're getting emailed from a bunch of different departments. Some of the emails require varying levels of complexity. And the email from you, unless it's like a very, very turnkey pitch, They're just going to keep that in your inbox or not respond because they're too busy. And so put your hat on of empathy. I talk about this a lot. Imagine you're the brand and they have all these emails from all these other people and their boss and their client, the agency's emailing them and blah, 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 blah. And they're busy with their kids' school stuff and like all this. Oh my God, I don't have time to get back to Disney mom life, right? So remember, you just have to take a big deep breath, understand that it's okay to email even if you haven't heard back, but critically you're pivoting. You're saying something else. You're not just saying just wanted to follow up on this. Okay. Hope that's helpful, Disney Mom Life. All right. Let's see here. Jason, who just signed up for the 10K brand deal, has a question. Justin, you've talked about one of the roles is advising brands. Can you go over ideas on what you'd tell a brand for a successful fourth quarter launch? So this is a great question, Jason. One thing that I think would really differentiate you would be auditing their landing pages. So I would go, if you're able to see the types of ads that they're currently running, and look at their website. So you basically would go to Facebook. And this is actually, by the way, something that we cover in the 10K brand deal challenge is like, there's a place on Facebook and even LinkedIn where you can go to actually see what creative they are running for their ads right now or have run in the past. And one thing that you could do would be to go look at their ads, film a Loom video or a Tele video, an asynchronous video, and say, hey, I'm just putting myself in the mindset of one of my, audience members who is, the brand's prospective customers, and saying, I think there's some ways in which you can punch up this page. You could change the copy here. You could change the headline here. You could change the copy on the button. You could do X, Y, Z. And in fact, if we were to partner, here's some ideas I have for an integration on my channel, but then a customized landing page incorporating a lot of these improvements, which I really think will improve conversion. You think any creator is doing that? No creators are doing that. No creators are being as proactively thoughtful as that. And if you're sitting here thinking like, Justin, I'm not a copywriting expert or a user experience expert, a funnel expert. Well, guess what? It's not that complicated. Imagine you are just one of your average audience members. Just put that hat on, right? And think like, is this kind of confusing? Does this make sense what this offer is? And if it doesn't, make that note. And you know what it also, I hope, might bring up in your mind, which is like, maybe I should start educating myself about this kind of thing. Because guess what's going to happen? If you educate yourself around this type of thing and you can provide that level of advisory or consulting to these brands when you do campaigns with them, what do you think is going to happen? Guess what? Conversions are going to increase. Because you're aiding the moment that someone clicks off of your video, your YouTube channel, your podcast, your newsletter, whatever, they're going to land on this customized landing page that you help the brand optimize. And you're going to pull that audience member, pull that subscriber or that viewer further down the purchase funnel and increases the chances that they will do whatever action, sign up for a trial, purchase it, whatever that you want them to. So this is where my mind goes, Jason, when you ask that question, advisory. A lot of times it's about this type of thing, realizing that it's not just about the content that you're creating, what actually happens after the person clicks. Okay. So that's like one example. Tyler says, do you recommend reaching out to brands on LinkedIn or no? Just try and find an email for them. Page 69 in your book talks about who to message. Yeah. I absolutely do. Actually, in fact, in the 10K brand deal challenge, we have a whole module on this about how do you analyze a brand contact's LinkedIn page, understanding, their job title trajectory. This is a really interesting one, right? Even if their title is a little bit unclear at the current brand, if in their prior role, whether at the company or at a previous company, that can often indicate a lot about their current responsibilities in their current role, right? And so that's just like one example, or one that we also talk about is like, a lot of times these people are posting stuff on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a legit social network, y'all, where people are posting things about what they're doing in their jobs, the types of projects that they're working on, the types of partners that they're working with, especially if it's an influencer marketing manager, a partnerships marketing manager, et cetera. They're talking about this stuff actively on LinkedIn. You can learn so much from doing this type of sleuthing. And so that's absolutely something I recommend doing for sure, is utilizing LinkedIn. But then You use LinkedIn to triangulate who you think the best partner is, and then you can use that to like once you've decided who the right contact is, then you can find their email address from there. Okay? Does that make sense? All right. One thing that's very important, I want to like clarify here. If you sign up for the 10K Brand Deal Challenge right here live on this live stream, I am going to do some beatboxing. I wasn't planning on that before 7 seconds ago, but I will do a personalized beatbox that includes your username. So who is going to be the one that receives a personalized beatbox? You have to go to creatorwizard.com/challenge. Sign up for the 10K Brand Deal Challenge in order to be eligible for the custom Justin beatbox session. Okay. So here we go. Who's going to be the taker? I'm going to take a swig and I'm going to see who the first person is. I think you guys want to see me beatbox, don't you? All right. And there we go. Bianca from my team just dropped the URL there in the chat. Thank you, Bianca. Alina just tuned in on Instagram. We've got Seven Masevasan tuning in. Joe on Instagram says, I used LinkedIn to make sure an email I got was legit. That's a great thing, or a great tactic there. Yassine at home tuned in. We've got Foodie, Prima Donna. We've got Ren Love Life. Good to see you all here tuning in. Let's see here. I think there was another question here. Okay, yeah. We got another question here from Calvin. Hey, Justin, would any part of the process change if we are pursuing higher 5-fig/6-fig deals, asking for budget range first, for example? It's a great question, Calvin. And generally my philosophy is that the larger the deal size, the more the brand is going to expect that this deal is going to be high touch or white glove. That there's going to be more involvement from you beyond you just like, creating the content in a vacuum and not interacting with the brand contact at all. They're going to expect that like you would be willing to hop on a monthly call or a quarterly call analyzing how the campaign is going. When I have done longer term campaigns that are in this level, like multi 5 figures, oftentimes we are proactively saying this to the brand that like, hey, every, 2 months or whatever, we're going to get on a phone call. I'm going to send you what I haven't talked about this much, but like what I call a mid campaign report. I've talked a lot in my book about what's called a post campaign report. But if you're doing a long-term collaboration with the brand, a mid-campaign report is just as important, right? Because you don't want to just be like, la, 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 I am awesome. You just keep publishing content and not paying attention to how people are engaging with that content and what they're saying. You need to be able to say like, hey, like in real time, basically, we got some objections here, or it seems like people are more into that feature than this feature. Let's ensure that the next iteration of this content, the next pulse next month, focuses on that one thing, right? So I think that's like a very, very important aspect of this is realizing that you can't stick your head in the sand. You have to be, again, leaning into this consultant idea, not just a content creator. And of course, yeah, if you're getting millions and millions of views, that increases your leverage to kind of decide how involved you want to be on some of these activations. But generally, that's a good rule of thumb is that you're going to be more involved with those larger deals. Okay. Alina says, how do I enter the challenge if I already ordered the book? Alina, you just need to go to creatorwizard.com/challenge, creatorwizard.com/challenge, and you can join creatorwizard.com/challenge. Okay. Let me know if you have any trouble. Oh, I think is, y'all, this retreat that I went to in Asheville, North Carolina, this weekend was so incredible. It was put on by my buddy Matt McGarry, and he runs a business called Grow Letter. And so the majority of the people that went to this event are newsletter operators. So they have very large newsletter businesses. In fact, I had the opportunity to interview for the podcast, a creator who has 1.4 million subscribers on his email list. This is their whole business. It's called The Pour Over. And holy cow, it is, you guys are going to be transfixed with this conversation because I mean, like how off, like it is a, like running ad operations for that level of scale is mind-boggling. Like I cannot wait to air this interview because it's just like I've never even been at that scale. Like, yeah, my wife and I have like, about 1.5 million followers across our YouTube channels, but like 1.4 million email subscribers is like crazy because, like email is a different beast, right? Like on average, if you're a creator who is, or a newsletter operator who, is ensuring that you're maintaining best practices with respect to deliverability and writing good email copy and all that, like 40 to 50% open rates is completely feasible. Compare that to like what your organic reach is on a social media platform, right? At best, we all know 5-10% maybe relative to the amount of people that you have, unless you're you're crushing it, fine. But like for me, like, a good day is like, single digit percent organic reach relative to how many followers I have or subscribers I have. So can you imagine if you had 1.4 million email subscribers and you were getting a 50% open rate? That is a guaranteed 700,000 people that are seeing your message every time you hit the send button on that email. So like that's a totally different ball game. And so I'm very, very excited to publish that episode. Alina says, what if I have 850 subscribers on my email list? Wait to get to 5,000. So Alina, you completely have my permission to join it now. I know I have the kind of 5,000 mark on the landing page, but it's really just about propelling you to kind of get off the fence and realize that like we actually, that like the more niche you are, the more niche your subject matter is, the easier it's going to be to get on the radar of these brands. And 5,000 is just kind of the number we picked to help you understand that, like, hey, if you're, if you have a couple thousand subscribers, even 850 like you, Alina, like as long as you're putting a pitch together that makes sense relative to what you're proposing to do for the brand. Yeah, if you're pitching, hey, let me talk about you on my Instagram or my YouTube or whatever, maybe that's not the thing that's going to get them excited, but maybe you say, hey, I would love to create some content for you, brand, on autopilot, 5-10 videos a month. You can put it on your Instagram, put it on your blog, put it on your, newsletter. I'll give you the rights to repurpose it for paid advertising. Oh, by the way, take a look at my platform, which has 850 subscribers. That serves as my portfolio. So that's the type of thing that you would pitch when you're starting out. And that's something that we're going to talk about in the 10K Brand Deal Challenge. So absolutely, I think it would be awesome for you to join, Alina. Big shout out to Trell, the barber, for tuning in on Instagram. What's going on, Trell? All right, let's see here. Holy cow, y'all. I think we're ready for a beatbox because Ian just joined the 10K Brand Deal Challenge. Ian's a legend. He's a legend. 10K Brand Deal Challenge. Go. I didn't say I was a good beatboxer, but I told you I would beatbox. And so if anyone else wants a custom beatbox, you know what you got to do. Trell the barber said, hey, what's up? What's up, dude? All right. So you know the drill. If you want a custom beatbox from me, creatorwizard.com/challenge. Join the 7-day or the 10K Brand Deal Challenge. Because remember, enrollment ends tomorrow at midnight. And our first call is on Thursday at 11 a.m. Central Time. So that's 12 p.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. So if you want to join, then you definitely need to sign up now. Bianca says, I'm dying. Are you dying because my beatboxing was so awesome? Because I think it was. I definitely think it was awesome. And Trell the barber on IG says it sounds pretty good to me. So look at that. I'm getting praise showered upon me for my 10K Brand Deal Challenge beatbox, right? I thought it was pretty legit. Jason says I'm disturbed. Well, I don't know. I don't know about your taste in music then, Jason, because I'm pretty sure that beatbox could go viral. All right, y'all. I am going to be honest here. I am crashing fast. Waking up at 3:30 in the morning, which technically is like 2:30 in the morning Central Time, because I was on the East Coast. I am like about to collapse. And I need to preserve my voice. I need to preserve my sanity for the 10K Brand Deal Challenge when it starts, because I put everything on the line for these brand deal challenges. And remember, if you want to have the opportunity to like ask me a question directly, I have the ability. There's like a VIP upgrade where I'm doing 4 live Q&A calls, one after each of the live calls, basically on Thursday, Friday, Monday, and Tuesday. And so if you want to join, there's like an option right after you check out. Then that would be amazing. I would love to chat with everyone who joins. All right, everyone. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you on Thursday. Creatorwizard.com/challenge. Let's go.